At first, star from Andor on Disney Plus, Kyle Solle, was doubtful about a Rogue One prequel show, but that was before he read the script. The latest show in the franchise shows Diego Luna's Cassian Andor as he journeys from a lone smuggler to the battle-hardened rebel spy who spends his entire life trying to dismantle the Galactic Empire. Let's look deeper into what changed Solle's mind, starting with Kyle Solle's first impression of the show. The actor plays Syril Karn, who's the former deputy inspector on Preox-Morlana, but was fired after he failed at catching Cassian and Luthen. In a recent interview with Screen Rant, Solle admitted that he had doubts about the new show. The actor explained that he wasn't confident in the show's premise. A prequel of a prequel turned him off, but soon after he read the scripts, he thought of it as refreshing. When he first came across the project, he thought the script was incredible and far from what he thought it would be. Before this, he wasn't sure if he wanted to be part of another Star Wars origin story. He said that it was a prequel's prequel, confused by even what that meant. Then he read the script and was left in awe. The fact that this time they were stepping into a completely different realm of a socio-political thriller, but still keeping it a family drama with hints of it being a space opera story, really vibed with him. But it also makes it much more accurate, conflicted, and human that pays homage to the Star Wars universe. Everyone in this messy gray area where they're all confused about whether they're good or bad, constantly making questionable decisions for either the Empire or the Rebellion. Moreover, how Andor has justified its place in the Star Wars universe. It questioned much of what we've grown up thinking about the Empire and the Rebellion. That new take was refreshing and unexpected to him once he started reading the scripts. Instantly, he agreed. Although the show doesn't feature any Jedis, Mandalorians, or Sith Lords, the new show manages to be one of the most important entries into the entire franchise. It's set 5 years before the events of Star Wars Episode 4: A New Hope. It shows how the authoritarian regime of the Empire helped create the alliance that brought the Republic back through its neglect of its people and harsh policies. The show looks at how several resistance movements grew through the eyes of the Empire's agents, such as the ISB supervisor Dedra Meero and Karn. It also looks at the point of view of the people affected by it, such as Ferrix's industrial workers, imprisoned citizens, and even Cassian himself. The show has a vast but rare cast of characters from the franchise. Not only does it tell a story of Cassian and his origin, but it also sets up the political unrest and sets the tone for Lucas's original trilogy that took audiences by storm in the 70s and 80s. The show gives insight inside the Imperial Senate, even through Mon Mothma's eyes, who later becomes the Rebellion's leader. Although it will eventually show Cassian completely turn against the Empire, setting up the anti-Imperial passion we see in Rogue One. More important, it shows how Mon Mothma went from a discerning senator to an insurgency financier. Furthermore, unexplored territory. Showrunner Tony Gilroy was cautious when making the overarching narrative of the show, ensuring that it expanded on the franchise's substantial science fiction lore. Despite its audience numbers being low at the start of the series, because of high critic ratings and word of mouth, it's now at the same level as The Mandalorian on Disney Plus. Because of such positive reception, it's been able to garner a rating of 92% on Rotten Tomatoes, and with only 2 more episodes this season, we're not waiting long before we get to see what the finale has in store for us. From Darth Vader and Luke to Han Solo and Kylo Ren, it's told many stories of fatherhood. On the other hand, a dynamic such as the main character and their mother isn't so familiar in the franchise, especially if the character is a villain that's in no way connected to the Jedi or the Force. While movies like A New Hope certainly did dive into Force-sensitive characters having to choose between their parents' legacy, a mother pushing her son to be an Imperial is something we've never seen Star Wars do before. The moments we see between Syril and Edie bring questions about whether the character's actions show his true self or if he's just doing what he's asked to do. Lastly, Andor proves Star Wars traditions should be broken more often. The show was one of the best examples why the franchise should break more of its traditions. One of the show's highlights has to be the relationship between Syril and his mother, as it refuses to mirror any previous characters we've seen from Star Wars. Admittedly, much of the franchise's identity comes from moments that remind fans of the original trilogy. Still, the show is an excellent example of why they can now step out of the confines of its legacy. The more character-based approach, especially for villains, has given Andor's take on the Empire a much more realistic look, arguably better than ever before. Moments such as Syril being criticized by his mother because of the way his uniform looks humanizes all characters, making their criminal actions all the more terrifying. Whereas shows like like Obi-Wan Kenobi and the Book of Boba Fett, felt a little too familiar with the franchise's tropes. Andor has so far avoided such character dynamics. Besides Cassian and Mon Mothma, almost all the characters we see are original characters made just for the show, allowing Andor to be less restricted by canon and to be more innovative. Andor Season 2 confirms massive original trilogy callback. Coming up, Season 1's finale. Andor is finally making its way to the first season's end. With only 2 episodes left to go, fans of the franchise have been working hard to figure out how Cassian finally gets to meet Mon Mothma and starts the rebellion. Though there are still a lot of unanswered questions, we know a lot of things about Season 2 that point towards the character soon joining the rebellion. When we first met him in Rogue One, he's already turned into a die-hard rebel, willing to do whatever it takes to finish the Empire's rule, even if it means killing informants for his cover or sacrificing his own life just to get the Death Star plans to the rebellion. The show establishes that the character wasn't always the rebellion's #1 secret agent, but started in a completely different place. That's why the prequel show was placed 5 years before Rogue One, as we see Cassian turn from a black market thief to an essential part of the rebellion. While Season 1 is meant to cover a single year of the character's life, the second could potentially cover the other 4 years leading to Rogue One. Moving on to Season 2. It's only natural to expect to finally see more elements from the original trilogy make their way to the screen, especially from A New Hope. Gilroy has already confirmed that we're going to see the return of Yavin 4. In an interview with Collider, as the showrunner was discussing Tom Bissell joining the writers team for the second season, he said that he's an incredibly fantastic and very versatile, engaging, and unique writer. Not just that, but he's also a massive fan of the franchise, which the team wanted to make sure that he was, since now they're heading into Rogue One territory, along with Yavin and many other places they need to connect to the source material. Longtime Star Wars fans will recognize one of the most important locales of the franchise, since it's where the secret rebel base is in A New Hope. It's from the very same base that they launch one final attack on the Death Star in the movie's third act, solidifying Luke's place as one of the greatest heroes ever and etching the film into cinema history. Finally, Yavin 4. To this day, the battle on Yavin is one of the most iconic visual effects works. It's the same work that made George Lucas's Industrial Light and Magic into an SFX powerhouse in a single night. Only once before has the franchise shown the location again on the big screen. Since Rogue One is placed just a few days before A New Hope, rebels are already set up in Yavin 4 when Jyn Erso joins them. It's then that we're going to see Bail Organa, Mon Mothma, and a lot of other early rebellion leaders making their next moves against the Empire after learning about their new weapon that can destroy planets. While Season 1 has been light on Easter eggs from the original trilogy yet, Colonel Wolf Yularen still manages to pop up, along with some references to the prequels, such as the Separatists, the Republic, and some mentions of the Clone Wars. Moreover, there are still some clone troopers in the flashback sequence as well, but we can expect things to balance out more towards references to the original trilogy once the second season starts. That's a wrap for this video. Are you excited about Andor Season 2? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.